Self-esteem is your opinion of yourself and your abilities. It could be high, low, or somewhere in between. While everyone occasionally has doubts about themselves, low self-esteem can leave you feeling insecure and unmotivated. Trauma, betrayal, and certainly betrayal trauma can affect your self-esteem and actually does. In this class, I wanted to give you 3 techniques to change the way we think, which will address our self-esteem. I'm going to start with some techniques and then go into like 6 questions that you could help out. Number 1, challenge negative or inaccurate thinking. Your initial thoughts might not be the only way to view the situation at hand. So test the accuracy of your thoughts. Ask yourself whether your view is consistent with facts and logic, or whether other explanations for the situation might be plausible. Keeping in mind, people make decisions from places of hurt. So we all know betrayal affects us, but it's not about us. Be aware that it can be hard to recognize inaccuracies in thinking. Long-held thoughts and beliefs can feel normal and factual, even though many are just your own perceptions. So pay attention to thought patterns that erode your self-esteem. Some of these thought patterns are all or nothing thinking. You see things either as all good or all bad. For example, so-and-so is a hurtful, vengeful monster, as opposed to, you know what? People are complex humans with many voids. And although so-and-so made the horrific decision they did, it was because they were trying to fill those voids that they had. 2, mental filtering. You see only the negatives and you dwell on them. Distorting your view of yourself, for example, I must have bad morning breath, or I put on too much weight after children, or I'm not manly enough, or whatever. Maybe I nag too much. These are mental filtering. These are questions that we ask ourselves, which we got to keep in check because, again, betrayal happens to us, but it's not about us. Downplaying, you reject your contributions by insisting that they don't count or they don't matter or they're not significant. For example, they did so and so to me because I'm such an idiot, or they're staying with me because they feel sorry for me. Downplaying what you bring to the table. Jumping to negative conclusions. You reach a negative conclusion when little or no evidence supports this mindset, this thought. For example, so-and-so betrayed me because, and then insert any negative thought. If it's not logical, if it's not factual, it's just a negative thought. Making feelings for facts. You confuse feelings or beliefs with facts. For example, I feel like a failure, so I must be a failure. Or I feel stupid, so I must be stupid. So feelings are not facts. Negative self-talk. Here's another one. You undervalue yourself or you put yourself down. For example, I don't deserve anything better, so I'm going to stay, or I don't deserve anything better, so this is what I deserve to happen to me, or I'll never find anyone better. So just the negative self-talk, put in check. That was under number 1. Number 2, change the story. We all have a narrative or a story that we've created about ourselves that shapes our self-perceptions, upon which our core self-image is based. So if we want to change this story, we have to understand where it came from and where we receive the messages that we tell ourselves. Whose voice are we internalizing? Our narratives are things that we picked up from either our parents, a teacher, a childhood friend, a religious leader, etc. Sometimes automatic negative thoughts like you're fat or you're lazy can be repeated in your mind so often that you actually start to believe that they're true. And I'll give you a personal example. I love to sing. I come from my father is a wonderful singer, and we come from a family of song, and I really love to sing. But my mother, who was always preoccupied with her own stuff, could not stand hearing anybody sing. So when I was younger, I would sing, and she would always say, stop singing. You don't know how to sing. Your singing is awful. I mean, all of these hurtful things. And it took me years, maybe even decades, through a lot of professionals and vocal professionals to develop my voice and say, you do have an amazing voice. And it's still something to this day that, I have to fight with, because these internal negative messages and the dialogue that I learned as a child. So get all those in check. And number three, in terms of getting ourselves in check, adjust your thoughts and beliefs. So this is what we're doing, is replacing negative thoughts and inaccurate thoughts with accurate, constructive thoughts. And ways to do this would be, number one, use hopeful statements. So treat yourself with kindness and encouragement. Instead of thinking your healing won't go well, try telling yourself things as, even though this is tough, I'm going to handle this situation. I'm going to get through this situation. Also, forgive yourself. Everyone makes mistakes. Mistakes aren't permanent reflections of you as a person. They're isolated moments in time. So tell yourself, I made a mistake, but that doesn't make me a bad person. And this could go in terms of, let's just say, for instance, you feel like you self-betrayed yourself. You saw some of the signs, you saw some of the red flags, you were triggered by certain things, but you ignored them. Now come to find out, uh, infidelity or betrayal was true, and now you feel like you failed yourself because you didn't honor those triggers, those signs, those red flags. Well, forgive yourself. You're only human. Um, Avoid the should-haves and the could-haves and the must-haves and all that other stuff. If you find that your thoughts are full of these words, you might be putting unreasonable demands on yourself or others. So removing these words from your thoughts can lead to more realistic expectations. Focus on the positive. So think about the parts of your life that work well. Consider the skills that you've used to cope with challenging situations in the past. The fact that you are listening or watching this class is actually a positive step, and a confirmation that you are putting yourself first. So, and it does show that you want to be healthy and happy. Also, consider what you've learned up until this point. There's no part of healing that doesn't suck. That's just bottom line. Listen, betrayal sucks, trauma sucks, trauma sucks, period. Now, I'm not going to say that there can't be um, gifts out of the lessons from that, but that's a whole nother class. But no part of this doesn't suck, period. On top of the healing process. But try to focus on the lessons and the new person that you will become from this. Do you remember the whole story of the caterpillar and the butterfly? Right when the caterpillar thought she was at the end of her life, she actually transformed into this big, beautiful, colorful butterfly. Relabel upsetting thoughts. So you don't need to react negatively to negative thoughts. Two questions you can ask yourself when a negative thought comes in or a trigger is, do I want to think about this? And does this thought or trigger serve me in any way? And if the trigger or the thought doesn't serve you, doesn't serve where you want to be or where you are going, then you have no business staying on that thought. Now, we can't control what comes into our head, but we can control how long we allow it to stay. And then lastly, on this one, encourage yourself. Give yourself credit for making positive changes. This is tough, but when you control your healing, you have to realize that pebbles make mountains and raindrops make seas. Try to notice even the smallest of growth, whether that's hour by hour, day by day, and keep track of that and notice those growth spurts and encourage yourself on those growth spurts. You're going to be amazed from day to day, week to week, certainly month to month when you look back. Holy cow. I didn't feel it or see it while I was walking through that storm, but I've made tremendous progress in my healing. Pat yourself on the back. So I may have mentioned these before, but I'm going to give you 6 questions that will help you get a visual to instantly boost self-esteem. And all you have to do is write down these 6 questions and answer them. So, when able, grab a sheet of paper and answer these questions honestly. Review them often and start to build your self-esteem by reciting these, knowing these. Use them as affirmations. Number one, I was really happy when. Fill that out. Number two, something that my friends like about me is. Number three, I'm proud of. Number four, my family was happy when I. Number five, in school, I'm good at, or I was good at. And finally, number six, something that makes me unique is. Now, if you write down those questions and you answer them honestly, and you look at them and you read them out loud, you review them, you can make them as affirmations. These are going to do wonders for your self esteem. Just those simple 6 questions.